It's time for the big one, friends. After weeks of waiting, we finally have a clear picture of who's going to be going to VALORANT Champions at the end of the year. We'll review what went down in the LCQ, talk about what we know about champs, and hit up Chalked once again. This is Aftershock. It may have taken us a little while, but LCQ is finally in the books, and we now know who the 16th team is that will be traveling to Berlin for VALORANT Champions at the end of the year. It seems like an eternity ago that 100 Thieves kicked off the tournament against Gen.G in the upper bracket quarterfinals. Gen.G looked great in the series, pushing 100 Thieves to map 3, but was ultimately sent down to the lower bracket. Xset was on many people's lists as a team that could take it all, and while Luminosity gave them a bit more to handle than expected, they did take care of business to advance to the upper semifinals. On the other side of the bracket, a demand for respect was beginning. Rise looked good when we saw them last, but how would they fare here? They passed their first test, beating FaZe 2-1, but not before losing map 1 on Breeze. And that left the last quarterfinals match, Version1 versus Cloud9. The stories wrote themselves. Vanity playing against his former team for the first time, V1 looking to prove that leaving them was a mistake. While both sides had so much to prove, it was Cloud9 that took care of business with a clean 2-0 win. The first lower bracket matchup between Gen.G and LG looked promising on paper, but with an elimination creeping about, Gen.G took care of LG to live to fight another day. And for all you V1 faithful out there, fortunately, they took care of business in a similar manner. The maps were slightly closer, but V1 2-0'd FaZe to move on to lower bracket round 2. Both upper bracket semifinal matches were bangers. Up first, 100 Thieves clashed against Xset in a series that featured two teams with a good chance to win the tournament. Xset struck first, taking map 1, but 100 Thieves took maps 2 and 3 to advance to the upper bracket final. Similarly, the second upper bracket semifinal match between Cloud9 and Rise also went to map 3. Maps 1 and 2 both went into overtime before Cloud9 seemingly ran out of gas and fell to the lower bracket. Rise continued to impress. Down but not out, C9 opened their lower bracket series against Gen.G with a bang. A 13-1 win on Ascent put Gen.G's tournament run on high alert, and while they bounced back on map 2 with an OT 14-12 win, they couldn't finish the job and were knocked out of the tournament while Cloud9 advanced with a 2-1 series count. Version1 looked to continue their lower bracket run, and they had to find a way around Xset in order to do so. The first half of map 1, Bind, was competitive, and it ended with a 7-5 scoreline in favor of Xset. Unfortunately, for V1, that was as close as the series got. Xset took care of things to advance and send V1 home. 4 teams remained with only 1 spot available. North American powerhouses Cloud9 and Xset squared up in the lower bracket semifinal elimination match that saw an overtime affair on map 2, and it also unfortunately saw the end of Xset's run. Cloud9 advanced to the lower finals. 100 Thieves made their way to the winners finals, but they didn't win much more beyond that. Not only did they fall victim to the terror that was Rise by a score of 2-1, but they also lost their next match against Cloud9 to be sent home. The stage was set as only 2 teams remained. A rematch of the upper bracket semifinals with everything on the line. Rise got the best of Cloud9 on their rampage of North America, but the first match was really close. It had 2 overtime matches. Could they do it again? A best of 5 final meant only 1 map ban, and the order of the map pool could be the difference maker. The first series featured Breeze, and then Ascent, and lastly Haven. This time around, Breeze was up first again, but Ascent and Haven were maps 4 and 5, which means that we would see these teams clash on 2 new maps. Cloud9 looked like a new team compared to the one we saw in the first match. The mistakes were cleaned up and they looked dominant. So dominant, in fact, they won map 2 13-0. They rode that momentum to a 3-0 series win and a trip to Berlin for VALORANT Champions. Now let's turn our attention to the end of the year. VALORANT returns to Berlin, Germany, December 1st through the 12th for VALORANT Champions. We may not know the brackets quite yet, but here are the 16 teams competing in the tournament. The 2 teams on everyone's radar have to be both Gambit and Sentinels. Gambit come in hot off their win at Masters 3. Will they find success in Germany yet again? And for Sentinels, their last trip here, quite frankly, left much to be desired. Will they return to form? How much better is this team now that they've signed Raucus as a coach? Up next, we have the best part of my day. We're gonna take a look at Chalk. Now, if you haven't watched Chalk before, quick reminder, the way that, well, I guess it wouldn't be a reminder if you hadn't watched it before, but the way Chalk works is you, the people, send us clips of your less than impressive plays. What we do is we look at them on the show, and well, we make fun of you and the clips, and we have a good time doing it. So this one's coming in from a man, Grumpy Pancake, which, a couple of things. Number one, can we talk about the unicorn get up for a second? Is that a Snuggie? Snuggies are still a thing. I didn't even know that was a thing. All right, Phoenix, self-flash. Okay, not great. Self-flash again, but that's all right. You've got the hater blockers, baby. No need for nothing. Oh, no. That is chalked. That play was the definition of chalked. One final event on the calendar, and it's the big one. We hope you enjoyed reliving the LCQ with us. Let us know who you think has a chance at winning champs in the comments below. We'll see you next time.